Hello everybody! Welcome back to another video. My name is Kat, known as phamerina.planning here on YouTube and on Instagram. And today's video is a plan with me for the week of February 3rd through February 9th using this Imagine kit from TaylorMade Creative Planning, foiled in rose gold. It was originally the 2024 end of the year mystery bundle. So it came with two options, like the freestyle kit that she has, which is very similar to what a lot of other shops call deco kits. And then she had the weekly kit version. If I remember, I'll try to link the haul that has the segment in it. But since I did get the mystery bundle, it came with a lot of like the kit add-ons that we think of now. So florals, large florals, foil samplers, what else? What else? Journal kits, yada yada. And it also came with a series of dolls, of which I used one in this spread. So let's get on with it. So for my base, since I had the doubles, the two sidebar color washes, which I really enjoy having those because like you could achieve the same thing with watercolor or alcohol inks, but like it takes out all of the positioning work. Since it came with the two sidebar color washes, which Monica has been like doing with a lot of her kits, I really enjoy that there's two color options. um, I decided to do a double center sidebar because I also had this scrap wash. It's not scrap, it's scrapbooky. This washi paper from Journal Say that had all of these butterflies in it. And like, while the butterflies aren't like a huge motif in this kit, um, there were a lot of butterflies in it. So that's why I decided to pull in this washi paper um, to put as the background. So instead of just the color wash, you also had the text and the butterflies in the background, so it felt a little more like a journaly. Um, I will say, and you'll see it later, that it is very busy. So, like if you've seen any of my spreads, you'll know that I really like to play with the sidebar. I really like to take deco and other elements and create little moments, little scenes. And my sidebar, if I don't pull in any full boxes, is usually where I spend a lot of that time. But um, as I was trying to put this one together, um, I ran into the the realization that the um, the text in the background is very busy. So to use smaller elements was a little bit difficult. But let's back it up a little bit. For my bottom washi, I went with the extended look and used the floral to hide the two edges. And then I really wanted to play with my full boxes. Um, So luckily I have like multiple sheets of the clear backing from the washi paper. And I did debate about like, well, I have like the large one. I don't really need these little thin ones anymore. But I'm glad I kept them because they're a good way to kind of play with layering without like sticking stickers on top of each other. Um, so while it takes up a lot, not a lot of space, but it takes up space on my desk, and I'm like, I really should just throw those out. um I'm glad I have them because they allowed me to like move this full box around and figure out where do I really want it. With this um double center sidebar, since I am in the inserts, I figured I might as well let this play across the entire middle area. You do have to think about the like the punches, the hole punches. And since this is for an A5 wide rings, those holes are like not in the most inconvenient spots. Um, but they're kind of like if you saw, I was trying to position this doll, which she came with this collection, and I was like, no, her hair's gonna get cut off, and I don't want to have to deal with it. Like, I kind of want her to be in like one piece as much as possible. So that's one thing if you are a kind of out of the bounds planner like I am, where your lines, my columns are kind of like guidelines, but they're not necessarily, they don't like restrict me. They kind of are like areas in which I kind of focus, or kind of, what's the word I want to use? Set major areas in. Um, the what was I what was I just talking about? Sorry, my brain literally just stopped. Um, having the holes there kind of just really limited me because I didn't want to lose any part of her. So I think that's where I was going. I don't know where my train of thought literally just stopped. So during that whole process over there, I kind of realized, well, I can't be doing too much work. And here's where I really struggled, because I wanted to bring in some of these smaller components, um, because they just really um, clashed. I guess maybe clashed is the right word. But it was just very busy. So it was hard to kind of create a clear kind of little deco scene without it getting lost inside all of the um, text in the background. Because now that now that I've gone through this process, I realized, well, like, yeah, Kat, you really didn't have to do all of that work. There's a whole, like, a high level of interest in the background of this sidebar because of that text in the background. But like, it's a lesson that that I had to learn. Um, and where was I? Oh, I had a brain thought. I was like, when you're finished your thought, Cat, go back to it. It was the full boxes. So I wanted to really play with the full boxes and like pairing them with pieces of deco, and like getting over that hump of like not wanting to cover things, which we've started pushing those boundaries for me, um and really just like letting the pieces play with each other. So for so I'm kind of lagging behind because my brain's kind of just going in like a million different places right now. But that's kind of what was going on with like the sidebars. Is I wanted them to kind of interact with things differently. And then for since I had a double center sidebar, well, since I had a double sidebar, not necessarily like this applies if you have just two sidebars on opposite sides. I had to stack one of my days, and I chose to stack Friday and Saturday. I was like, what am I doing? Because this is the week of the Super Bowl. Not that I personally have no stake in the Super Bowl, but the Eagles, the Eagles were, at the Super Bowl, and has a residential Philadelphian, I guess. You kind of have to care. So the entire week was spent being like, go birds. So I had to, dedicate part of Sunday to commemorate the Super Bowl. Um, so that's the decision there. I brought, as you saw, the lace washi from the washi sampler into the date cover. I used one of the garlands from Dash of Sun. That's the extended one. Um, and then underneath, or just above my like columns, I used one of the green washies from the washi sampler from TaylorMade. Now that I'm looking at it, I should have just like flipped the two washies, or at least connected them more, because there's like now this stark blank space between the two, and it kind of looks like weird. But the stickers are down. We learned from our mistakes. We're not gonna mess with it anymore. So for my month call out, I wanted to use this large script, and I feel like I should have moved it elsewhere. Um because it's really competing with this. I mean, when the foil hits the right way, you're gonna really see it. And here I'm still like, for me, like there's large areas that have no stickers. Well, minus, the sidebar color wash. And I'm like, let's bring in more foil. Let's bring in more stickers. And like here I was really grappling with the fact that this text background is really busy. Like I just it's creating the interest on its own. And I didn't need to try to add more. So that was the lesson learned from this this sidebar. Like it's a beautiful sidebar. I had to like really learn some things along the way about like scaling back, about editing, as in like not like not trying to do more than it really needs. So for my other um my full boxes for the rest of the base, I decided to stack those two, not stack, tilt tilt those two full boxes and try to connect it to the sidebar in some way. Um, and you see, I tried to pull in that clock tower piece looking thing, and I picked it up several times because it's a very interesting piece and I really wanted to use it. But like I said, learning about editing, about realizing when it's too much, the clock piece was too much. So I had to pull it out. And as always, I need to at least line part of my full boxes because they kind of feel weird. Like I don't know. I feel like, I guess the whole point of kind of tilting your full boxes, or maybe one of the points or purposes, is that they kind of come together seamlessly. But for me, um that's like that doesn't like jive in my brain. So I feel the need to like call them out just so that, this, I know this is a full box. um and I've seen like Christy from Kitty_plans, they like beautifully just tilt their boxes and they don't even like bother with box liners. And I'm like, I wish I could do that. And like like you get the way they do it, it's just so pretty. And I know like we all have our different styles, so I really enjoy like watching that from from their videos, and like trying to like just like learning to what's the word I want to use? Learning to try different things, even though I more often than not fall back into old habits. But that's why we all have our own specific styles. If we all designed, or not designed, if we all planned the same way, it would get boring, right? So for this other set of full boxes, since I had very limited retail space on Friday and Saturday, and I already put my full box in place for Thursday, I decided to stack these interestingly, in my opinion, something I haven't really done it this way before. Um, and again, washi paper, kind of conceal part of the full box behind the date cover, just so that, create interest, create dimension. I do, since I was so focused on this part here, I didn't realize that that jewelry box deco that I put on top of the boxes was the same jewelry box that's located on that full box under Thursday. And I typically try to really avoid having too many of the same elements together, because like that's just what my eye like gets drawn to. And I'm like, oh man, why did you do that, cat? Because you have two of the same element together. So now now that I've noticed it when I look at the spread, I'm like, ooh, can't you put two of the same element together? But it was like a couple days later when I realized it. So it was kind of too late to really fix it, in my opinion. I don't really like to um pull the stickers up after a while. I know undo is a thing, but like I don't know. I'm kind of like just make the mistake and like well, happy accident, as Bob Ross likes to call them, and then just move on, right? um it's not the end of the world if you have repeating elements very close to each other, I guess is what I'm saying. So, on to the day by day. We start with a coffee Monday, like we usually do. I got Dunkin' that morning. So this was a batch 102 for our campaign. So we had to do um, basically when you grow cells, you put them in a smaller container and then you put them in a bigger container so you grow more cells, and then so on and so forth. And if you are limited by your container size, what do? You just make more of that container. So this procedure expands 10 roller bottles to 100 roller bottles, and like 100 roller bottles is a pain. I did another procedure that uses roller bottles at a different company I worked at, and they used 400 roller bottles, and that was insane. Different cell culture vessels have their benefits, because you could use one with a higher footprint, but it's more expensive. But if you use a cheaper one, you're paying with quantity and um, physical footprint. So I'm gonna get off of that because that's not what you came here for. That's kind of boring. My job is mostly relatively boring. If I were to describe my job, it would be moving liquids from one container into another. Like that's literally what I do. So that's that. I did laundry and then ended the night with a planning sesh. On Tuesday, I did some cell culture data collection just so that we can look at the numbers and see how the cells are growing, to determine if there's a trend, if the cells are starting to crash, yada, yada, yada. Again, very boring stuff. I had tea this day rather than coffee. And then we had pizza for dinner. On the 5th, which is Wednesday, that was Titi's birthday. She's my cousin who watches Bub basically full time. She's his aunt. Actually, yes, we're like sisters. So it was Titi's birthday on the 5th. It was a paperwork day, and then I got Happy Mail from Dash of Sun. I would presume this was the Boxing Day sale, probably. The fact that it was Titi's birthday was partially why I chose to use this kit. Um, it's like she's not necessarily a pink girly. She's actually more like a she wears a lot of black, but I feel like her her aura is kind of pink. I don't know if that makes sense, but her aura is very pink to me. She's not necessarily feminine. Well, she's feminine, but not girly. Those are like two different things, if that makes any sense to anybody. But I felt like this kit kind of captured her vibe in that sense. It was also a kit by, like I said, TaylorMade Creative, who is one of the um, more well-known black owned shops in this community, at least on this pretty planet, at least in my limited scope. Let me clarify that. In my limited scope, she's one of the few black owned shops that I'm aware of. And it was Black History Month in February, so I just wanted to use a kit from a black owned shop to honor that. So that is like partial reasons for why I decided to use this kit. Moving on. On Thursday, hold on, let me call out. Look this floral like matching perfectly with the full box. Complete accident. I just knew I wanted to make the floral pop out from behind the box, and when I laid it down, I was like, "Oh my god, this lined up so perfectly." So it wasn't planned. I just want to be very transparent. That was not planned. That was a happy accident, and I'm glad it happened out that way. All right, back on to the plans. On Thursday, there was some freezing rain in the morning, meaning that there was a messy commute. Nothing happened. It's just, other drivers. We had a procedure called transfection happen, and then we watched Big Hero 6 at home for the night. My husband just wanted to watch it, so we did. On Friday, Friday was spent everybody at work saying "Go Birds" because in Philadelphia, you live, breathe, eat, bleed green. Like, it's part of your identity, regardless of you're a willing participant or not. So all day was "Go Birds" all day. Then I hold on. Oh yes. Then I did a planning session that night. I was like, food. There's no food on Friday here on my plans. On Saturday, we had a breakfast with my two guys. We did a Target run, and then again, the hubby was in a movie watching mood. So we watched Treasure Planet that night. Or no, it wasn't at night. It was more like during the day. So we watched Treasure Planet, and then on Sunday, Super Bowl Sunday, um, I made breakfast that morning. Um, and then I followed up with Jana just to because I knew she was busy with house stuff and I didn't want to bother her too much. So I just wanted to follow up on her offer to join her PR team for JK Creates Co. And she was like, yeah, I still want you on the team. And I was like, okay, cool. So like, this is what I'm thinking for freebie stuff, da 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 da. So I officially joined the JK Creates PR team on this day. Um, Codes and stuff down below. And then, of course, had to mark Super Bowl. Um, Unfortunately, I stacked like a bunch of green on top of each other, which was not intentional, but I think I was running out of colors at that point. Um, and I thought it was fitting to use a green box, a green swatch, um, to call out Super Bowl Sunday, where the Eagles won. Of course, the whole city was celebrating. They talked about it for the following week. I was kind of really sick about it. So that is the spread. Here is, the foil shot. And then here are the kit leftovers. I have quite a bit left. I really wanted to use some more of those full boxes, but limited space. So we'll see what I do with those. And then, yeah, that's the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, I would love it if you gave the video a little like. Leave a comment with any of your thoughts down below. And I would be so happy if you join my channel by subscribing. And I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.